There we
Woo!
go. Does it say it on your side too? Does it give you the little box going, you're
Live.
live? I still need to work on a really good actual intro for this thing.
Okay.
Like music and a bumper and stuff like that.
Yeah, like dun 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 dun. Got it.
Something.
Okay. The Trevor Show. Not Noah. Not to be confused with Trevor Noah.
Not that one. I'm not that cool. But no, just
Yes.
I want to have like a double meaning in the name of pretty much whatever I'm going to do. So I call it full bars for signal strength and cocktails.
That's right. And cocktail strength. So I am
Oh,
opening one of my favorites that I'm going to share with you.
Ooh, is that
It's called
sake?
close. It's soju. It's
Oh,
Korean
nice.
soju. It's called chumcharam, which means like the first time. So every time it's supposed to taste like the first time.
But does it?
No, I mean it's good. It's sweet. I like it. Who the hell knows? Who the hell cares if it tastes like it the first time? It's just good.
Can anybody actually remember the first time though?
Of
Of the drink.
or
Cheers.
of anything.
No, true.
It smells good. It smells good. I haven't had it in a while. I've had this bottle for a while. It's it's like half finished. But anyway.
See, I'm the opposite of that, where I just this is showing my hand. I just kind of blitz through bottles pretty quick of stuff.
Okay. By the way, what'd you make for yourself? It looked like a Black Russian or something.
It's a conquistador.
Never heard of it. What's in that?
It is. Let me pull it up real quick, because this is what took so long, was that I realized last minute. I was like, oh, I don't have any of these ingredients ready. But it's what's that?
Tell me.
Oh, wait, it's a dark rum,
Mm-hmm.
tequila, blanco tequila, simple syrup, which I had to make, and then I had to juice lemons and limes, so it's got that in there, orange bitters, and then an egg white.
Ooh, okay.
The egg white is what gives it that froth. It's actually really good, which as long as you actually like chill it while shaking it and actually put it in a chilled glass, it keeps. It's anything that's got egg white in it, you definitely don't want to let it get warm.
Well, yeah.
Because that's when it starts to get weird. Yeah. But then there's also a backup, the tried and true tequila soda lime.
Okay. I mean, you're going to be fucked up. That's got dark rum and tequila, the first one?
Yeah.
You're going to be fucked up. Okay.
Not at all. And one of my favorite drinks actually uses both tequila and bourbon.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. It's real good.
Anything that's got more than one type of liquor in it already, I'm just like, death.
Keep it a little more high class.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm just saying, like, I'm remembering back when I used to drink, stronger stuff, which was like when I was 25, probably.
Mm-hmm.
When I would go like clubbing every weekend or whatever, and it was like, give me a Long Island. I'd have 2 Long Island iced teas and I'd be done.
See, so, I did that.
You were like, I did that last week.
No. I was gonna say my version of that is even worse. My clubbing, quote unquote, was in, again, early 20s, but it was when I was actually still it was when I was like a proper Disney employee, and I was down at the theme park all the time. Back when I was a personal assistant, so on the weekends I wasn't on call, I'd be going down there with some friends, and we would just have our day at the theme park. But then they had this like at night Alice in Wonderland theme party, and this was back when the cocktails that they had on the menu for this party were definitely stronger than they are now. Okay. And a little bit cheaper. So that was my partying. Was like an Alice in Wonderland themed cover band dancing at Disneyland.
Whatever works.
Yeah. I always ended up, whoever went with me, because you could sign in 3 people as a cast member. I always made sure that one of the 3 was definitely the designated driver.
Well, yeah, that's smart. Okay.
Yeah. And they everybody like rotated responsibilities each weekend.
Free Uber,
Yeah, pretty much.
By the way, I like your apartment or your room.
Oh, thanks.
At least it's really cool.
Yeah, I took a little bit of time over the beginning of quarantine, those first 3 months, and I had like, yeah, it's really sad, but over time, like since moving out to LA, I kind of like just would grab like a piece of furniture here, a piece of furniture there, and like not everything matched. So I finally went through and actually like upgraded some stuff, reorganized, and kind of got everything together.
That's cool.
So
Very
yeah.
minimalistic, black on white. Looks good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And did I ever tell you about? I think I mentioned it last week too. Did I ever tell you about the corkboard?
Oh no. Okay.
I never told you about that.
I don't think so.
Did I actually fix that? Oh, it's a little too high. Hold on. There's got to be a better way to deal with that. Okay. Cool. I like your wall.
Yeah, my room's a mess. I'm not showing you my room. I'm not showing you my room.
See, I just got all that ingrained in me at an early age where my mom's like, listen, put all your stuff away. So people are like, oh, you expect, I'd have friends come over and they'd be like, oh, you expecting company? I'm like, no, it's just always looks like this.
Okay. All right.
Just always. It's sad because I can never let loose.
I mean, that's fine. Yeah.
But
I'm of the opinion, I'm like, my room can be a mess because I can close the door over. The rest of the house has to be clean. That's kind of how I work. So
that's fine. That's fine. Controlled or organized chaos in your own room.
Exactly.
The rest is what's actually kept clean.
And it definitely is organized because I know exactly where everything is. I mean, it might look like a mess, but if you ask me to find, XYZ paper from 2019 or 2018, I know where it is. You know what I mean?
It's in that pile under the bed.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Actually, I don't have anything under my bed. That's a bad thing for feng shui. So nothing under the bed.
Wait, how is your room a disaster and yet you believe in feng shui?
The enigma that is Carlos. Seriously.
That's great.
Yep.
So now we're going to start at the present day and then we're going to turn back the clock.
Okay. Oop. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So right now, what's the state of things in New York right now? Are you guys under like stay-at-home orders?
We are not under anything.
Really?
I guess our indicator, our best indicator for you would probably be that in New York City, because this goes by everywhere. Like every section of New York State is different. Every section of New Jersey is probably different.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in New Jersey, just outside New York. But New York City, restaurants are not allowed to serve indoors. They can only serve outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
And mind you, here it's cold, right? It's
right.
Like, on average, it's 40 to 45 degrees. This week it's going down. It's going to be in the 30s. So that's going to be really fucking cold to be sitting outside.
Yeah.
But some places have heaters and other places are doing really creative things that are definitely illegal with their outdoor spaces. I can send you pictures later. But
so they're calling out places.
Yeah, exactly. But so we went from like 25% capacity to, I think we had gone up to, so over the summer we had gone back up to 50% capacity, and then we slowly went back to 25, and now 0 indoors. So we're only allowed to sit outdoors.
Whew. But in Jersey, you said there's nothing. There's no real
it's just different. So for example, I think we're still at 25 in Jersey, but I still only sit outdoors, so I don't care.
Got it.
Yeah. I've been that strict. I've been that strict all summer though. Like even when people were sitting indoors, I was like, no way in hell. So and it's kept me safe. So that's really all that matters.
I mean, we didn't even have indoors at all, even at our best at times.
Really? Okay.
We've only been outdoor, and outdoor was had a restricted capacity. The only time since all this began that I've eaten indoors was Florida.
Which makes sense because they don't care about anything.
Yeah, they don't believe in this.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
And it was at Disney World actually too.
At Disney of all places.
Oh yeah, I know. Who knew I was gonna be there? But yeah, it was. I mean, they did like the lower capacity and then the spaced out inside. They had some rules. I felt safe, honestly.
That this is live disclaimer. Right, should be followed by anything that Trevor says. Nobody accepts responsibility for.
I can do a ticker along the bottom.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, it's like I cannot be held liable for anything that I may or may not say.
Right, it is all fictitious.
Whether sober or inebriated in the course of the conversation here.
Right, all characters, all things that possibly resemble real people are fictitious.
Pretty much. So then are you you're still tutoring right now, right? I'm imagining remotely.
Yeah, everything. Luckily, since March, I've been online. Let's say 95% of the time. I have one student who every so often makes me trek into the city to teach her, and also to collect money from her because she pays me in cash. So yeah, she's the only
Uh,
one. Everybody else, is let's do it online.
yeah,
Whether through like a third party or just me directly with them.
right.
The common consensus now is let's do it online.
That's like, and that's like number one. Who won out the most during all of this? Like, I mean, come on, I've got like I upgraded my webcam instead of just like what's on my laptop down here, and then I got this fancy mic with the boom and stuff. So like all
Yeah.
those companies, they all won out. Internet service providers, new computer monitors, webcams, all that stuff. People upgrading their internet, they won out.
Oh, totally. I mean, that and Amazon, right?
Oh yeah.
If Jeff Bezos was on track for being a trillionaire in 6 years, this whole pandemic might have actually made him, that's going faster. He's going to be probably in 5 at this point.
Well, he got divorced and had to give up 25% of his wealth, but now pandemic. So
Exactly.
maybe
Right.
cancels each other out.
And you know what? When you have more money than God and you can't possibly spend it in one lifetime, it's like, screw you, man. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, his ex-wife has the right idea. She donates as much of it as she can, and I wish he would do more of that.
Yeah, there was something like he could give every single American $14,000 or something like that, and he would
Yes, please.
still have profited just from the pandemic. That's literally just the money he's made during the pandemic.
Yes, please. I will take his, his stimulus. Right. I will take Jeff Bezos' stimulus fund. Why not?
Yeah, seriously, take it. Like, I'll start with the $600 and I'll go from there.
Exactly.
Jeez. Then the other side of it, I feel like, is going to be what's going to stick around after all this, like what people are going to do.
Like, in terms of what? What do you mean?
Like, are people going to like be like, oh, like, do we have to actually go into the office for this meeting, or can we just do it over video? Or I mean, one of the comics on tour with us makes this joke where he's like, I hope that drive-by birthday parties stick around after the pandemic, because it's like it's like the least amount of commitment. You just go by, frisbee the present onto the front lawn, take a swig of a beer, peace, and you're out.
I think the funniest thing is it probably takes them longer to make the signs than it does to drive around the block. You know what I mean? Right? Because it's like, happy birthday, Johnny. And it's like, it took you 5 hours to make that sign, but they see it for 2 minutes. Like,
that's true.
But
then, you can negate all the small talk and everything, because you're like, oh, I gotta go. There's people behind me. I gotta, we're going to keep it rolling.
Right.
But it's also easier for the person hosting the party, because they don't have to you don't have to worry about, all the food and stuff. You're still getting the gifts.
Well, there's no real party.
Right? Yeah, it's lower overhead.
Yeah, exactly. Lower overhead. Exactly.
The economist of it.
Speaking of parties during the pandemic, a new kind of PPP, right? Party, pandemic, party. I don't know. Anyway, so I spoke to somebody yesterday who's going to a wedding in the Bronx.
Okay.
5 people. And I was like, is this wedding outdoors? He's like, no. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, okay, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm still really hesitant about all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you hear? I don't know if this made it to the news out by you guys out west, but there was right in the beginning of the pandemic, there was a wedding. It was a Hasidic Jewish wedding somewhere in central Jersey, right? Like kind of near the beach.
Yeah.
And so what they did was, because the limit at that point in New Jersey was 50 people for any gathering, right?
Okay.
So what they did was they actually, I guess, rented or just spoke to people who lived in adjacent backyards.
Oh,
so
no.
They had 50 people in each backyard. There were 200 people at the wedding. And of course, a whole bunch of people got COVID at it.
Was it? I think, I don't know if it's a story that I'm thinking of. It's the one where like through the contact tracing, they found out that like 8 people died.
No, that was in Massachusetts somewhere. That was somewhere else.
Oh, different wedding.
Different wedding, different state. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That stuff I don't entirely understand. Like my cousin, I love her, and I was supposed to fly to her wedding last March, which it was going to be a week after everything shut down. So they postponed it, and then they still got married, but like it was basically very small, like the kind of thing you saw in like, you know, an Independence Day in the in the airport wedding chapel,
Okay.
something like that, like literally just like witnesses and like that's it. So they want to do an anniversary thing the same weekend, but a year later, but with everybody. And it's in Wisconsin, which obviously Wisconsin, what do they believe in other than mudding? And they're like, oh yeah, right now the venue capacity is at this amount, but they're anticipating being at this amount by the time of the reception.
Anniversary, yeah.
And then found out that, which first off, I'm like, number one, flying. I'm not sure that I'm really keen on doing that. Two, I don't really like, I get such anxiety being around people in general. Like I was in a socially distant movie theater.
Okay.
Everybody masks on. It was just an AMC down in Orange County. And even during then, like I was watching Tenet. So first off, like anxiety is pretty high, but I'm like the whole time looking around me because I'm so nervous that there's people around me. They're all distant. Like they're like properly spaced out, but just my anxiety was so high. So the idea of like being in a space like that where everybody's stationary, like sitting around tables and stuff like that, I just can't do it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because we don't have any movie theaters that are open here. But if there were, first of all, I'm not a big moviegoer. Like I'm much more of a Netflix and chill kind of person in that sense, you know. But yeah, if we had movie theaters open here, I would be perfectly fine going because I wouldn't remove my mask. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be the type of person to be like, you know, munching on popcorn and drinking, you know, Sprite or whatever. Like, I don't need that when I go to a movie.
Right.
So
right.
I'd be perfectly fine because I just keep my mask on the whole time. You know.
I mean, I did, but I was still nervous.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, do you have an N95?
I have I do have a couple on standby, but I primarily wear KN95s.
Same thing. I mean, same thing. Yeah.
Slightly
different. I looked it up.
My roommate would contest you on that.
No, the difference is minor. You just have to make sure that they don't say non-medical use or something, because those are the ones that are not as good as the medical ones, obviously.
Oh, geez. I mean, I just get mine on Amazon.
Yeah, we'll just check if they say non-medical use or not. But either way, honestly, like I've used the non-medical use ones, and I'm fine. You know, and getting back to your point about flying, since this pandemic started, I've flown twice to Houston, once to Antigua and back. And I'm luckily, you know, knock on wood, I haven't gotten anything on any of those flights. So, you know, they actually say, Fauci said at one point that airports are actually worse than planes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you really need to just watch out when you're in the airport more than you do on an actual plane.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like one of the things that I love doing is I've got a couple of airport lounge memberships. So I basically stay in the lounge where when they seat you, like every lounge, they will seat everybody and they seat everybody spaced out. So I basically stay there up until like as late as as close to the final boarding call as I can, that I'm not in that like throng of people lining up to try to get onto the jetway.
Right.
Like, I'm not doing that. So everyone's just being stupid. But yeah, to your point, like
so you have flown.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. You made it sound like you hadn't.
Oh no. Well, the Disney World trip. So I had 2 flights there, 2 flights back.
Okay.
And then at the end of our tour in August, because we did 3 separate drive-in tours. The one in August, we had to drop off the boss in Atlanta for a show.
Okay.
And then I think the bus was like staying for a beat and then driving back. And the bus driver was like, I don't want you guys on the bus. So we had to fly back.
What?
Yeah. He's like, I can't stand you guys for 3 days straight. And I go, oh, cool. Thanks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, lovely.
So we flew. But since then I've upgraded to like the KN95s. I wear the face shield too.
Yeah, on the plane I wore the face shield. Yeah. Not in the airport, because I had to eat at some point. So
you gotta take your food kind of like a bridge troll, and you gotta like hide away and like take off your mask and then like eat real quick away from people and then like put the mask back on.
I was so upset because I was actually eating at a table at the airport, and all of a sudden these 2 MFs sat right in front of me. The guy had his mask down here. I was like, what the fuck?
This was in Houston, wasn't it?
I think it was in Houston. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. And it really pissed me off because it's like,
Oh yeah.
Can't you see that I'm eating? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like common courtesy. It's like, stay away if you're going to not wear your mask. But they were like, ooh, there's 2 open seats right there,
Yeah, there's a reason. Keep away from me.
Exactly.
People standing all up on me, like in line at stores and stuff. And the number of times I have to turn around and just go, hi, can I get a little space? Like, yeah, like just, no, like, well, I already had COVID. It's fine. And I'm wearing my mask. I'm like, I don't care.
Right. It's like, well, just you had it doesn't mean I have,
Yeah. It's like, if you're starting with stuff like that, like statements like that, then most definitely get away from me, because then that tells me that you're like, you'll do this, like wear a mask in a store, but that tells me that you're not doing this anywhere else.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm not a fan of that. Like, I feel like an astronaut. If I walk outside of my apartment, my mask is on.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it depends. Like in my case, for example, if I'm taking the train, like if I'm going straight down to the train, I will do that. But if I'm walking to my car, I usually don't.
Ah, that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like, I think it's more about the mindset. Like, where am I going? How many people am I going to be exposed to? All that stuff,
That makes sense.
So,
but enough about the shitty state of things.
Yes.
Because
I'm sure you get that every week, every time you talk to a friend.
Well, actually, no, this is your episode 2.
Woo!
Yeah, no, I'm like, okay, so like the truncated version of this whole thing is I was like, hey, new year, I am really bad about keeping up with people. I want to be better at it. But then also content generation. And I don't know, this is like a weak format right now. Maybe I'll figure it out at some point, get an opening bumper, get some music, get better at the graphics and stuff like that. But until then.
Okay. Just record me. I can be your music.
And now Carlos music? Beatboxing.
Bow chicka bow wow. I'll give you some. I'll give you some porn music. Whatever you need.
Oh, thanks, but no. All right. So about you though, because you are much more interesting than me. That was redundant in there.
Oh please,
much
spare
more,
me.
Yeah.
Spare me, Mr. Leo. We know you love to talk about yourself, but it's fine since you are the host and you are running the show.
Remember my birthday?
Well, I know. Yeah, I know you're a Leo, and I know you're in July, and it's in my phone, so we're good.
Amazing.
But yes, but since you are the host, I will allow you to probe my mind.
Done. Okay. So I give you credit right off the bat from when we had first met that you were one of the few people who welcomed me into the group. It's I gotta admit, for the number of times that I've been on set, which has been kind of infrequent. Like I end up doing like, sometime on set, some other times in office, sometimes in food service, then back on set, and like kind of rotates through like that, to where like when I got the job on Jungle Cruise, like I got the job and then 7 days later I was getting on an airplane going to Hawaii, and then I just land and I go, okay, cool. And I go to the hotel and like I had no context. Nobody from my boss's side of things told me anything to expect or to do. And then nobody from the film side had reached out to me ahead of time. So I showed up and everyone's like, who are you?
Who are you? What are you doing here? Yeah, I remember.
Literally the only person who knew I was there was the travel coordinator who made sure I had a hotel room and who had booked my plane ticket. And that was it.
Wow.
Oh, and got me a car and got me a rental car. That was it.
Okay. Not even Christina knew you were there? I feel like she probably did. Really?
No. The very first person who said anything to me when I got on set was Shane, and that was because
security.
Oh no, it was because I was wearing like decent street shoes and like
in
street.
The mud?
I was wearing street clothes and walking around in mud. And he was like, "You look like you're out of place."
Exactly. It's like you look lost.
Yeah. So after him, it was pretty much right after that. It was like Alex and you.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I vaguely remember seeing you and being like, "Who's this guy? What is he doing here?" Like, what, kind of like, okay, he
just
must
wandering
be
around.
I was like, he must be a PA, like.
Well, I had that look on my face at first, for sure.
Exactly. Exactly. So.
But you were so nice to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just nice, and you looked friendly and approachable. Like you didn't look intimidating or, Like an
It's just the
asshole.
glasses when I wear my
When you
glasses.
wear them. Okay. It's that Poindexter look, you know.
Yeah. Well, man, those 3 weeks where I know I'm jealous of you guys for getting to be there for like as long as you were, and then even in Atlanta. But those 3 weeks being on the island with you guys was so much fun. Like when we did karaoke and
Well, we went to oh wait, what was that bar at Kauai Shores? What was it called?
well, there was the beach bar, and then right next to it was the one called like Tree something, where they had the live band. It was very much a dive bar, but then that beach bar,
I vaguely
it
remember
was
that, but we would
was it,
always hang out at the beach bar, I think, right?
was it like Lava or something like that? Or
Yes, the lava. You're
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh my god, it was so
that was
funny.
fun.
I just remember Destiny. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I actually, funny story. So I just got a new iPhone like a month ago, and I had to call Apple support for something, and the girl who helped me out, her name was Destiny, and I told her that story.
You told the Apple support rep the story about drunkenly mispronouncing a woman's name?
About you calling her Destiny and how it stuck, and we just kept calling her Destiny, you know? Yeah, I told her the story, and she was like, really? Because that was her name, too, so that's why.
Not embarrassing at all. It actually isn't embarrassing at all. That's funny.
Yeah, really funny.
I hope she's well.
Right. The real one? You mean the real Destiny?
The real one.
Yeah.
Wait, that was the same woman who said, he's peacocking right now.
She said that about you?
Yeah. She's like, he's peacocking, like being a showboat or something.
Yeah. No, I got the, yes, I understood the reference. Thanks. I don't think she was referring to your cock by any means. Because I don't think she had seen it up to that point.
The point being that was the first time I had ever heard that.
Right. Oh, I mean, it sounds old-fashioned. It sounds like something from like the 50s or 60s, but, it doesn't sound foreign to me.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look it up later. Or actually, I can look it up while I talk to you right now. I can multitask. Let's see.
The internet.
Yep.
But that was some good time. But I mean, quite honestly, at this point, aside from like certain other folks who are still down in Atlanta, I think Pinky, Miranda, like Alex and you are the two that I keep in touch with the most.
Okay. Yeah. Do you still see Alex? Because I know he's out there too in LA.
I mean, he lives like a mile away from me, so.
Okay. Cool. By the way,
yeah.
Sorry, I need to tell you this because she was spot on with this expression about you.
Really?
So it's ostentatious dress or behavior employed by a man in an attempt to impress women. She was spot on.
Who was I trying to impress? Her?
Well, her, I guess.
I mean, she was kind of a looker.
But it's really interesting how like precise that is,
Ostentatious?
Yeah.
I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I mean, they were neutral, but
behavior.
Not
necessarily dress.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so interesting. She had you pegged from the start. This clever little Destiny.
I wear my emotions on my sleeve.
Okay. All right. Tell it to the judge. All right, Bob.
With Alex though. So him and I, I had texted him and I was like, hey, have you watched WandaVision yet? He's like, I literally just finished the second. Did you say what was it?
I don't even know. Yeah.
That's right. You live under a rock, which we're going to talk about.
Yes.
WandaVision is a Marvel TV show on Disney Plus. It debuted 2 days ago. And it's technically the start of Phase 4.
Of what?
Of the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Okay.
Yeah, which really you can't call it Marvel Cinematic because we're talking TV now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he had just finished the 2 episodes that debuted on the same day, the first 2 episodes. And I went, I'm at the grocery store. What if I take all my stuff home and then I come over to your place and we have a couple of drinks and we rewatch the episodes?
You are such a dork. Okay.
Well, because I'm I mean, look at the freaking cork board and stuff. There's little Easter eggs all throughout these episodes. There's the homages of the things that they're supposed to be, plus also the references to the MCU and I was just nerding out about it the whole time. So then, like, obviously, like when it comes to comic books, both DC and Marvel, like I know that Alex knows a ton of stuff. So
Okay.
yeah.
The last thing I saw was Runaways on Hulu, which I liked. I really liked it, actually.
So that's another thing that I'm worried about, because there's like on ABC there was Agents of Shield and Agent Carter, and then Marvel or Netflix had the Punisher spin-off series, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage,
Iron
and Iron
Fist.
Fist, and then Hulu had Runaways, Inhumans, Cloak and Dagger,
Yes, I saw Cloak and
and
Dagger. Wait, which one's Inhumans? I don't
I don't
remember that.
remember. Yeah, and then that one season of Hellstrom that was supposed
Which
to be like
was
the
great. I saw that too.
that got canceled because apparently it wasn't good,
What?
or at least no one watched it.
That's a shame. I liked it.
But yeah, but I guess all of those are, I guess MCU. I guess they're canon.
Yeah, they count. They totally count. Remember, it's all the same company.
But
Right?
well,
Marvel's owned by Disney. Well, think of it this way, right? They're all subsidiaries of Disney. So, yeah, it counts.
there's certain stuff that's not,
with the
though.
exception of Netflix. Sorry, with the exception of Netflix.
Well, but then there's also the problem of well, like anything with Fox, that they're like
the
X.
Gift.
No,
not the Gift. What it was it called?
like the two different iterations of X-Men.
Yeah, which one? Wait, there was what's the most recent one? The one with Polaris in it. What the hell is it called? I saw that one too. It was on Fox.
Well, there's kind of a horror one that was oh, what was the name of it? It wasn't that great. But hey, what's her face from Game of Thrones?
The Gifted. That's what it was called.
That's a Marvel thing?
Yeah. The Gifted. It was on Fox. And it was
a show?
What? Who?
It's a show or a movie?
Show.
Oh, then that's why I don't know it. I don't.
You should check it out. I liked it. I saw it on. I actually caught it on Hulu.
Okay.
I'm trying to see who else was in it aside from Polaris. You know who Polaris is, right? I'm assuming.
No.
Magneto's daughter.
Whose daughter?
Magneto's daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I mean, that tells me the family tree, but I still don't know who that actually is.
Don't worry about it. It was good. It was good. Check it out. Check it out. The Gifted.
Okay.
But that got canceled after like 2 seasons.
Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff that's like, is it actually tied in or not? Then the thing with like Spider-Man and Sony, like all of the Tom Holland Spider-Mans are part of the MCU, even though it was a Sony film. But now there's with the new Spider-Man that's like supposed to shoot soon. Now that like Endgame has introduced the ability to have like branching realities, like in the main timeline, which is the films, Loki dies, but now there's a TV show Loki coming out where, as what happened in Endgame, where he like disappears off to another place. So because that creates a branched reality where then he actually survived, and now he like, if you watch the trailer for it, it goes off on that, but like he's still alive in another parallel or another alternate reality. And then I think that this new Spider-Man movie is basically supposed to say that all of the Spider-Man franchises, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and the Tom Holland ones are all like valid. So apparently they're bringing back like what's his face as Doc Ock, and doing
who's doing Dr. Octopus?
What's the actor's name? I'm totally blanking.
You have a computer right in front of you, dude.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to like sit here like Googling all that stuff all the time.
Why not? You can just talk to
them. Consider me like.
Who's playing him? Or well, what show? What's the name of the movie? So I can look it up.
It's the Alfred Molina. There we go. Boom. Alfred Molina.
Alfred Molina.
The man who can be Spanish and British depending on what film he's in.
He looks familiar. He's probably done something I've seen.
Oh, he's in a lot of things.
He looks familiar. Let's see.
Yeah. Alfred Molina. I find you so curious in the fact that like you arguably like have like a good portion of your life that lives within film and television, and then I talk about actors, and you just go like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yep,
it
totally.
is.
That's totally me. Yeah, because I'm just not obsessed like you guys, and that's probably why I'm really good at my job.
It's not.
You
No.
know, think about it. Think about it.
Obsession insinuates fandom, whereas just having a knowledge of.
Oh, I'm not insinuating.
Okay.
I'm not
Because
insinuating.
sounded like it.
Not insinuating. Nope, not insinuating at all. You crazy MF.
That
You
that was
crazy Disney MF. You specifically.
that was like one day on set in Atlanta for Jungle Cruise when uh Jack Whitehall, he
Yes.
had one of his friends over
By
from
the,
Britain.
by the way, can we be name dropping like that? Like, can we talk about the fact that we worked on that like that?
I have it on my IMDb.
So do I, but okay, fine.
I mean, I'm not
Disclaimer.
giving away anything about the film, and I'm not
True.
revealing any
Disclaimer,
cast that's
kicker,
not already been
no. All
announced.
right, fine. Okay, fine. All
No,
right,
no.
Jack Whitehall, continue.
Yeah.
French on set, continue.
Well, I forget the guy's name even, but he is someone
Is he
who
British?
came over from Britain, was visiting, and Jack had
Okay.
him on set one day just to visit, and met the guy, and I was like, oh, okay, so what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm a writer, and then I was like, oh, so I was like, just shot in the dark, and I think I even phrased it as that. I was like, just shot in the dark, like, what are some of the things you've written? And he named a few shows that he like was the creator and writer for, and they were shows that when Hulu first became a thing,
Mm-hmm.
and they got like 5 studios or whoever involved to like sort of like license their shows to the Hulu platform after they aired live on their channels.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that Hulu did at the same time was they licensed a bunch of British shows and had them on the platform. So I was watching those at home during college. And when this guy named a few shows that he had done, they were shows that I had watched at home. So then he like, this is like 15 years after the shows actually aired. And
Wow.
I actually quoted one of the shows, one show he'd written, and there was a specific episode that I thought was really funny because it had Tom Hollander in it, and you can Google him too. And he, I quoted part of the episode back to him, and he was just taken aback. He's just like, oh, like okay, he's seen it.
Right.
I just thought it was funny. I love British humor.
Yeah, I find British humor funny too. Speaking of which, similar but not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Dairy Girls on Netflix?
Not yet. It's
Okay,
on the
but you
list.
know about it?
Yeah.
It's so funny. I mean, like there are moments, right? It's not like I didn't find the whole thing funny, but there were definitely some good Irish funny moments. So check it out.
I like that.
Yeah.
Especially Irishman. I dig it.
Irishman? Like what, the
Irishman.
movie?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay, I was like, what? Okay.
No, just Irishmen in general. I enjoy their humor.
Their humor. Yeah. It was good. It was good. It was interesting.
Very dry and punctuated.
Yeah.
But
yeah, probably closer to French humor, actually. That's probably why I like it.
Okay. Yeah. Now, what's French humor like, though?
It's really dry. I'd say it's really dry, but I find them super witty. There's just stuff I'd have to watch something and like translate it for you and just, tell you what I laugh at, basically.
Okay.
Like what makes me laugh. But I love, if you get a chance, if you want to watch something on Netflix, I don't know how well it's translated because I watch it in French, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's this one show called Call My Agent. That's the translation in English.
Okay.
It's really called 10% in French. But
Okay.
it's about agents who deal with all these French stars, right?
Okay.
And so they actually have real French stars playing themselves, which is kind of cool. Which is cool because it's very tongue in cheek. They make fun of themselves, and Monica Bellucci's on it, for example. She does an episode because she's acted a lot in French.
Right.
So it's cool. It's actually really cool.
It sounds
check
like
it out. Huh?
Sounds like a little show.
You're breaking up.
Am I?
Yeah. What'd you say?
Are we better now? We're good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's like that show, the British show Extras, the Ricky Gervais show.
Oh, I don't know that show. Okay.
He has like Patrick Stewart comes in one episode, Keira Knightley another, Orlando Bloom, and it's like they play parodies of themselves.
Yeah,
They just poke fun at themselves.
it's great. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, but it's the French version, and so it's just really funny because you hear lots of French,
Hmm.
like you know, I guess comedy French. It's a comedy, so it's like
Right,
French
right.
funny stuff that's great. I just find it great.
So I'd have to watch it with subtitles.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. Oh my God, you have to read. Ah, sorry.
you're asking work of me.
I
But
know.
speaking of, remind me, what are all the languages that you speak?
Some up to six.
Oh,
So English, Spanish, French, Italian, American Sign Language, Portuguese, and I can kind of get by in Turkish.
Turkish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Really?
not fluent by any means, but I can give you a pretty good rundown of how things work.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, so then if you said so English and then you said Spanish, French, Italian, and Portuguese.
Portuguese.
Portuguese is Latin based, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, and that was the thing. I mean, I learned that even in high school. Like, as soon as you grasp one of the Latin-based languages, it's easier to pick up the other ones. And there's like five total, I think.
There's five official, let's say,
Okay.
but there's lots of other sub languages that we don't really hear about, like Catalan or Galician or Occitan. All these little languages spoken regionally in
Hmm.
France and Spain and other places.
Curious.
Yeah,
Okay.
and there's also dialects within right within languages. So, for
Right.
example, Portuguese, right? Like Brazilian Portuguese is totally different from Portuguese from Portugal, you know,
Hmm.
or Spanish from Colombia, which is where my parents are from, right? Versus Argentinian Spanish versus Spanish from Spain, totally
Hmm.
different. Like those are three very different accents. Accents, vocabulary, intonation, all that stuff changes.
So then, how do you learn the differences between? Well, first off, what's the difference between a dialect and an accent?
Okay, a dialect is, let's look at that as an umbrella term, right? So technically, a dialect is, think of it as British English versus American English, right? They're
Mhm.
dialects in the sense that they're both the same language, but they're just slightly off. They're slightly different. And maybe somebody who's not a native speaker might understand one more than the other. But we as
Okay.
native speakers, we're more exposed, so we tend to understand both. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. Think of it
But
that way.
then, but then, how do you differentiate that from slang or street? Like, so, like I learned most of my Spanish education. No, actually, half of it in grade school was like proper Spanish, like Mexican
Meaning,
Spanish,
okay.
and then the I took 2 years in high school, still properly trained Mexican Spanish, and then the third year the teacher started teaching us street Spanish.
Cool. Okay.
So then he said, like, it's like slang, it's a street language.
Yep.
So what's then the difference between a dialect and then just like what you could be called slang?
Okay. So think of it, like I said, dialect is an umbrella term. So under dialect, this includes things like slang, intonation. So slang being vocabulary, right?
Mhm.
Intonation, grammar, right? All those things can have slight tweaks,
Okay.
and that falls under the umbrella term of dialect, meaning like Mexican Spanish versus Colombian Spanish versus Argentinian Spanish versus Spanish from Spain.
It seems like a lot to keep straight.
Yeah, for the most part, like for my purposes, let's say,
Hmm.
I only need to really focus on vocab,
Okay.
right? Because unless I'm going to teach somebody a specific accent, right? Like
Hmm.
let's say I need to teach them Spanish from Spain, then I have to listen to it over and over anyway. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But if I'm just going to focus on like, oh, by the way, this word is used in Spain, that's much easier. See what I mean?
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to like film and television, you don't have to worry about the accent necessarily because the actor is the one who should have done the research.
No, I do actually. I mean,
Really?
yeah, well, okay. Let's put it this way. The general trend, right, is I usually deal with actors who have no previous training or very little previous training in, let's say, Spanish, for example,
Okay.
right? And if that's the case, then it's more about just getting them to speak, right? Like it's not like I
Okay.
have to say, okay, you have to have a Mexican accent in this, right? Like that may be what production wants, but 9 times out of 10, that's not what they're going to get. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm working with what I've got. And if this person's never spoken Spanish in their life, it's going to
Hmm.
be really hard for them to focus in on something like Mexican Spanish. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, so it's more about like, okay, well, you speak Spanish now, you know, think of it that
Right.
way. Yeah.
Okay.
But of course, then you have the rare exceptions. Like I worked with somebody once. She had studied French in high school, and
Hmm.
it was amazing. Like I mean, like her French was almost flawless.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like French people would probably notice, but nobody else. You know?
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was like really, really good. Like, and the only reason I say that it wasn't perfect was because it didn't have that natural nasality that French has. You know, French is just naturally really nasal. So that's how
Oh,
you can
okay.
tell a French person, you know, from a non-native speaker, even if they're like virtually perfect in French. You know what I
Can
mean?
can you teach the nasal part?
No, you kind of just have to. I mean, you can kind of remind. Sure, you can
Hmm.
be like, but so I'm going to do it in English, right? But remember, you have to speak like this. It's a little more sur the nose. See what I mean? So like if you do that, like you know, that kind of you can kind of gently nudge in that direction.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, even I don't do it. You know what I mean? When I speak French, I don't do it.
Huh.
So
Kind of calling yourself out there.
hey, I'm okay with that. You know, I think I would sound like an asshole. It's the equivalent of sounding like a douche to me. To me, like if I were to do it for myself. You know what
Uh-huh.
I mean?
Okay.
So that's why.
So we agree that everybody in France sounds like a douche.
No, how did you jump to that conclusion? Yeah, great. You know, have the linguist who speaks French fluently look like an asshole because you said that, you know, all French people are assholes. No, thank you.
No, no, I said that they sound.
They do not. I will not agree with anything Trevor says. Put that in your ticker.
Ah, trying to get you caught in something.
No, I'm not drunk yet.
Oh, okay. Somebody trick you journalism. Oh, oh, hold up. Caught my cable.
Okay.
That's what I get. But anyway, all right.
So
That's
yeah.
funny. Now, how do you wait? Okay, so remind me of a couple of things because I completely forgot. Where are you from again?
Born and raised in New Jersey.
Okay, okay,
My parents are Colombian.
okay.
That's it. I lived in Italy for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Worked for a Brazilian company for a solid year, and that was after taking one class in college called Portuguese for Spanish speakers.
Okay, and that was actually in Brazil.
No, that was in college at Rutgers in New
Oh,
Jersey.
but not. What you said you worked for a Brazilian company, but
Oh,
you
that was
worked.
in New York. Sorry, that was in New York.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get like gather like how you.
became fluent in so many languages.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
was it
Let me backtrack.
intentional or did it just happen? You're like, hey, I happen to like already have a grasp on like we're basic on three, so I want to just keep going.
Well, okay, so let's go. Let's backtrack. So, I was exposed to French. So, okay, I grew up speaking Spanish and English, right? Because my
Mhm.
parents are Colombian. I was exposed to French in seventh grade for a bit. Then high school, I took French, you know, all through high school. Majored in French in college, and then just made a lot of friends who now all live in Paris, coincidentally. They're not all from Paris originally, but they all live there now. So that makes my
Okay,
life much easier because then when I go to France, I just go to Paris and see them all.
not bad.
Yeah.
So
What
when are we
else?
going?
Oh, you mean after this whole thing dies down? Yeah.
I'd love to go to Paris.
Um, so there's that, and then Italian. So my freshman year of college,
Hmm.
the girl next door was an exchange student from Italy.
Okay.
And at that point, keep in mind, I already spoke French and Spanish, right? So she would be on the phone with her mom, and I would understand probably 60% of what she was saying, you know? And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, what is she speaking? Like, I remember day one when I heard her speaking on the phone, I was like, what is she speaking? I'm like, I think that's Italian. I'm like, but why is it Italian? Why do I understand everything? You know what I mean? Like, that's how it
Yeah.
felt. And I was like,
Hmm.
this is weird. We became really good friends.
Hmm.
That was my first exposure to Italian. Then I started taking classes. Then I studied abroad in Florence. Then I went back and I lived in Rome for 2 years after that.
Oh, nice.
So I actually have no accent in Italian, which is great. People
Really?
just,
Oh.
yeah, people think I'm Italian all the time. Yeah. I can fool, what I tell people is I can fool French people for about 15 minutes, but I can fool Italians for a whole day. That's usually what I tell people. So, And of course, the only reason I can't fool them longer is because at a certain point, I'm like, oh, by the way, I was born in the U.S., but my parents are Colombian. You know what I mean? Like I go into like who I actually am, and then my credibility goes out the window at that point, right? Um, so what else? So that's three. Portuguese, I took that one class in college, and
Hmm.
then just through friends, and then of course working for the Brazilian company.
Hmm.
So that's four. American Sign Language, I actually worked at a school for the deaf in New York for about a year and a half.
Okay.
And I took two classes. So I formally only took two classes, and then everything else was just with colleagues, colleagues and then friends.
Were the classes while you were working at the company, or did you take those classes before?
While I was working there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of interested in potentially picking that up.
American Sign Language?
Yeah.
Okay.
Learning it. I shouldn't say picking it up. Picking it up makes it sound like it's easier than it is, and I'm sure it's not.
If you have a visual memory
Hmm.
and if you have a kinesthetic memory of any sort, you know, it'll be easy.
Like muscle memory, you mean?
Yeah, which by the way is not a real thing. It's a term. Yeah, I just saw a whole thing on it.
Okay.
What really happens, long story short, is there's something in your brain that like coats it coats like certain neurons or something, right? Like
Hmm.
there's certain pathways in your brain that get coded with something that remembers. So it's not that you actually have muscle memory like in your hands or in your legs or in your feet, whatever, right? As a dancer, it's that you can access the information faster because they're coded in your brain.
Huh.
Yeah. So what we call muscle memory is actually a misnomer.
I want to live in ignorance.
Okay, there you go. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Take another sip. You're overdue.
Thank you. Thank you kindly. What was the
So
last
yeah.
thing after ASL? That was
Oh yeah. So wait. So English, Spanish, French, Italian, American Sign Language, Portuguese, and Turkish. So
oh
Turkish. And by the way, if you notice, I don't know if you noticed, I was counting in sign language.
yeah.
This is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's why. So,
Got it.
which is, by the way, when I learned sign language, I loved it because I was like, yes, I can finally count on one hand up to 10. Because like I never knew how to do that.
You just
You
sitting
know,
like,
right, right. But like now, when you have to count stuff, you can just count on one hand up to 10. So it's great. Um, yes, Turkish. So Turkish, I went the first time when I was living in Italy in 2009,
hmm.
and I loved it. And it was more about, I mean, culturally, yes, everything's beautiful, yes, but the language just sounded so beautiful to me. And so I looked it up after, of course, when I got home, and I was like, ooh, it's they work on the principle of vowel harmony. Okay.
Okay.
So what that means is they have two sets of vowels in the language. Okay. They have a, e, o, u. So now what those vowels do in your mouth is they go from front to back up top. And then they have e, I, e, u, which is front to back down in the bottom of your mouth. Okay. So
Okay.
now, these two sets of vowels don't mix in Turkish. Okay. So like proper Turkish words will never mix those vowels. However, when you start seeing mixing occur is when you know that the word was borrowed from another language. Okay.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
So that's when I was like, wow, this is really cool. Okay. And I just, I kind of fell down the rabbit hole with that. That fascinated me. And now I realize why it sounds so beautiful, because Turkish really did sound beautiful to me when I was there. And it's about the vowel harmony. For example, the word for, see you would be görüşürüz. And if you notice, my mouth barely moves because all the vowels are in the same order, let's say, right? They're all under vowels, not over vowels. So görüşürüz, which is like, literally it's we'll see each other.
Hmm.
Okay, it's like nos vemos in Spanish, if you remember that from your Mexican Spanish classes.
So
So
then the other is it kind of like in I think it's Mandarin where you can basically say the same word, but the way that you intonate it can be two very different words. Is it kind of the same thing?
no, not at all, not at all. Yeah, it's not like that ma thing. No, do you know
Okay.
that about Mandarin?
Not the example you just gave.
Okay, so the ma thing is usually used because
Mhm.
ma can mean mother, horse, water, and something else, right? It's just about the tone.
Yeah,
Any
don't want to
tone
call
that
your
you're
mom
singing,
horse.
right? Any tone, like depending on the tone. I don't remember all the tones because I don't speak Mandarin, right? But if you use 4 different tones, it means 4 different things.
Because there's one that was like upwards inflection, downwards, flat, and then I think there's one that was like somehow like up and down.
Yeah, it's down, up.
Down, up. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weird.
Yep. But no, Turkish doesn't do that at all.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's about vowels. It has nothing to do with tone in that case.
A lot of use for that Turkish these days.
Not really. I mean, I have Turkish friends, I go to Turkish restaurants, but,
Fair.
but aside from that, not really. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for funsies. All right.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's tough. I mean, it's a really tough language because grammatically it's actually very close to Japanese.
Okay.
So meaning it's the complete opposite of English, right? So if you want to say, I want to go to Istanbul, you say Istanbul to go to want I. Yeah, it's the exact opposite. Sure, there are some sentences that are very similar to English, right? But they're usually very simple sentences. Anything more complicated is like the complete opposite.
All right, well, this is turning into an education.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the languages in a nutshell.
Jeez. That's awesome though. Like that. How long did it take to like from the start? Oh, obviously English and Spanish, like you just with upbringing, but like starting from I guess French and Italian until all the way up till Turkish. How much time is passed with that?
Well, French. If I let's start from high school because that's when I really got my base. So 14 to Turkish. I guess I stopped learning in earnest a couple of years back. Let's say so, or a few years back, maybe. Yeah, let's say 14 to 32.
Okay.
So what's that, 17 years? Can't do math. 15, 16, 17, 18 years total.
But then how do you keep all that up once you learn all of it? Because like for me, like I had when I was like 16, I think was when I finished all of my 6 years of Spanish class, and I was able to like think and write in Spanish very easily, but then I just kind of lost it. I know it's in there, but I haven't used it, so I feel as though it's lost. But how do you keep that going, especially when you got 6 of them?
Friends, TV, music. I just try to keep up.
So basically, the music you listen to is far more educated than mine.
Educated, not necessarily. Foreign, yes. Yeah. Brilliant. So like today I was on a Turkish kick, so I was just listening to all these Turkish stars while I was driving into the city.
Okay.
Into the city and back out. So.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, and granted, my Turkish, like I said, is not fluent, but I catch a few words here and there, and I'm happy about it. So,
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything like that right now.
You have time. You should.
Yeah, I should. Like I said, like the ASL thing, I feel like that would be a really good skill to have. Also, I wouldn't be bad for, when you're in a crowded, loud room. If you're at a concert.
Yeah, totally.
Only if you're there with somebody else who actually also understands ASL.
Some of my favorite moments were being in clubs with deaf people because you can just sign and you don't have to worry about the what?
I love calling people out in clubs for that, where I'll like say something to them and they go like, yeah. And I go, you didn't hear me at all, did you? Like, no, I didn't. What would you say?
Yeah.
There was a time, no joke, I was out on, it was Valentine's Day. This is 2014 probably. And I was getting over being sick. No, it wasn't even that. Like one day I just lost my voice.
Okay.
And I could like try to speak, but it was hoarse. So I'm in a bar, and it was kind of a dive bar in LA, and I was there with a couple of guy friends, and started talking to this girl at the bar, and she would like say something to me, and I'd type out my response in my notes app, and then show her my phone.
I thought you were deaf. Oh my god. She probably thought you were deaf.
I actually think I told her, I was like, "Hey, I'm sick. I'm getting over being sick or something
Okay,
like that." Or I'm
okay.
like, I lost my voice. I'm getting it back. And like, I tried to speak at times, and like, I think she thought it was like so endearing or whatever. But then like, here was the funny thing was that it was a bachelorette party. Don't worry, it wasn't her thing. Um, but they were leaving, and I got her phone number, and then I texted her, and then she ghosted me.
She ghosted you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
It's been
hey,
a
it
lot.
makes for a good story.
I mean, right now, but that was like 15 seconds, and
You still remember it though, so it makes for a good story. Think of it that way.
yeah, but a lot of those I'm kind of okay with forgetting.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I get it. I get it.
I got a lot of hot break.
Drink some more. It's okay.
Good call.
So, by the way, what happened to your other thing? The thing that looked like a White Russian.
Oh, I
Did
finished
you
it.
not like it? Oh, I thought you didn't like
Oh,
it.
great. No, it's great. The so when we got around Thanksgiving, because so my like whole history of like drinking alcohol is like very simple. Basically, I didn't drink at all before I was 21. And then even when I turned 21, I only drank a little bit at home. I had a few nights where I like went way overboard with like bad stuff, Long Island's, and it didn't turn out well. But then I moved out to LA just before I turned 22, and I was just drinking beer, like bad beer, and just cheap whiskey. It just wasn't great. And then that lasted for a few years, and then I lost all that weight, and I was like, after like not drinking for 5 weeks, like 5 solid weeks of no alcohol at all, and dropped a bunch of weight, and I was like, I can't drink like bad alcohol anymore. So if I was drinking beer, it was only going to be craft beer, and that's kept up for almost 8 years now.
Okay.
Like if somebody's like, oh, I've got like a Coors Light or water, I'm going to take the water because Coors for me is just like beers
Well,
like that are just
piss.
not worth it.
That's like piss water. So
Yeah, it's not great. Coors is a sponsor, by the way. Totally kidding, obviously.
by the way, since you mentioned craft beer,
Yeah.
if you ever ask for a lambic framboise, and if
Mhm.
some waiter ever corrects you, tell them to go fuck off because it's framboise, not frambois. Okay, that is bullshit.
I want to go to a bar with you just so I can watch this happen.
It happened to me once here in the Lower East Side. I went to Pianos, if you've ever heard of it. Pianos is kind of well known because they have lots of bands perform there and stuff. You know, like more like
Heard of it.
not like up and coming, but like, you know, like
Okay.
probably like D-list, but on their way hoping to rise to
Yeah,
A-list kind of thing. But anyway, so yeah, so I go in and I'm like, oh, do you guys have lambic? She's like, yeah, we have framboise. I'm like, great, can I have a framboise? She's like, do you mean framboise? And I'm like, this fucking bitch. I was like, do not correct me. I speak French. You know what I mean? They really pissed me off.
At that point is when you pull out your passport with all like the French immigration stamps on it.
Yeah, right. No, but she'd be like, what's this? I can't read it. And I'll be like, exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then that turned into like I was just drinking like Manhattans all the time, and then I got to Dark and Stormies. And then about a year or two ago, I shifted over to just tequila soda. And it's been pretty consistent all the way throughout, which tequila for me was something that I was like, I think I'm actually allergic to this, but I think it's just because I was drinking cheap tequila, and this is like years ago. So then like 15 years ago. And then I pretty much just stuck with that. And I feel like a lot of people have gotten on the tequila train in the past year.
I feel like a lot of people just drink tequila, so I've never noticed a difference, let's say.
I have come across so many people. I feel like this happens more often than not, where when I mention about drinking tequila, that the person I'm saying that to goes, oh, I can't drink tequila. Like tequila messes me up. Like I drank too much tequila in college, like doing shots and that. And I'm like, number one, you're shooting it. Number two, you're probably shooting bad tequila.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I started later in life with all of it. So like my liver's still good. Like my doctor told me that a week ago. So I was like, cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. I was like, I mean, apparently my red blood cells are a bit big. And I go, that's probably going to be because of the tequila. But as long as my liver's good, I'll try to rein it back.
Is that really true? They grow because of alcohol, like specific types of alcohol, or what?
If you have enlarged red blood cells, it's the three factors. The three most likely possibilities are a lack of folic acid, which you get from like asparagus,
Lentils.
spinach. Yeah. And then, or what was the other one? B12, so red meat.
Yeah. Not necessarily, but okay.
Well, I guess meat in general.
Any type of meat. Any type of meat and fish. Yeah.
Which I have kind of recently kind of unintentionally gone just meatless just because I don't like to spend time in the kitchen cooking food. So for me, it was just easier to go with like some plant-based burgers that I get out of the freezer section. So I don't know if it was that, but then the third thing is having a lot of alcohol. Okay. So my doctor's like, you might want to like maybe rein that in. I'll be completely honest. When we're on tour, I'll have tequila soda lime, and this is going to be like a really bad admission right here. I can kill a half a bottle of tequila a night.
Whoa, just by yourself?
By myself. And I will wake up the next morning and be like, cool, like, let's go to the thing.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're just, so high tolerance, I guess.
Hey, well, I would say, going back to the other thing, right? Well, have some B12, like, supplement, buy some vitamins, have some B12 in your diet. What was the other thing?
Folic acid, which is there.
Folic acid. Yeah, you can just get folic acid pills too. I mean,
I have enough. I have enough veggies to fill that quota. It's
got to be
pretty much
veggies, right? It's got to be specific ones for.
That was specifically asparagus and spinach, and I have that every day.
Okay.
I'm very boring. I have the same food every day.
But asparagus, really? Your pee doesn't smell?
No, it does.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Switch it up. I'm serious. I mean, lentils will do the trick.
Some really good quality time.
Right? Lentils will do the trick. Serious. And they don't smell. I mean, they don't smell.
The point I'm getting over this entire trajectory was that, once we hit Thanksgiving, my buddy had told me about this app called Mixel that it's really cool. I'm not going to pull it out, but basically you can have like an 8-bit version of your bar, and you can basically just punch in all of the bottles and of liquors, liqueurs, bitters, salt, pepper, simple syrup,
what you can make kind of thing.
Yeah, and it actually, if you pay for it, it'll pull in a handful of the most popular cocktail books today.
Okay.
So I've got a library of over 2,000 cocktail recipes, and you can add in your own too. But basically, you just keep an updated version of your actual bar at home in the app, and it'll tell you all the things that you can make. And here's 100% ingredient match. Here's all the things you can make, 95, 90, 85, 80, all the way down. Right. And so I started just buying a bunch of bottles. So I've just been trying out a bunch of stuff. And there's been a handful, admittedly, out of the few dozen cocktails I've tried from this app since Thanksgiving, there's been maybe a half dozen where I'm like, okay, these are really good that I'm going to remember these, and these are going to be in my back pocket. So the Conquistador is definitely one of them, because it's kind of because it uses the egg white, it's kind of like a whiskey sour, but being rum and tequila based.
Right. Okay.
So it's, some stuff like that. But then I was having a conversation with a friend last night about tiki drinks specifically, because he's huge on tiki drinks, and he's made some really good ones. He actually just got a rolling bar cart in his apartment.
Okay.
It's just filled with bottles. Half of them are all rum, different kinds of rum. But we were talking about the difference of it's not just it's a dark rum, but it's okay, but what's the quality of the dark rum? And then also when you're actually mixing the cocktail, you can do it to where you have cubed ice or crushed ice.
Yeah.
And even just shaking it with those two different kinds of ice can give the cocktail a different taste.
Quality, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
And then if you put in a chilled glass versus a room temperature glass, or if you're pouring it on the rocks or not, there's so many different factors in there that honestly, to me, aside from just the fact that you're drinking, that art of all of those factors and making cocktails is much more interesting to me than cooking food or baking or something.
That's called, you are an alcoholic, my friend.
No, because an alcoholic is somebody who's going to be completely okay with actually just drinking Molson or Coors or something like that.
No, I doubt it. Come on, we can look up the the definition of an alcoholic, and I think you fall right under there. I'll see a picture. You know what? I'll take a screenshot right now, and I'll update that entry.
Be nice to me.
As you sip your tequila soda lime.
It's healthy.
Sure. Agave. There's agave in there.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, come on. Like, if you were to look at my fridge, it's completely boring. All the food that I actually do have in there.
Well, that's why you spice it up by drinking so much. Got it.
But still, it's like stuff that's not that bad. It's not sugar loaded. It's not horrible. I did realize once I turned 30 that the thing that messes me up the most are sugary drinks.
Okay.
Like, that's the thing, is like I can have a good amount of tequila and still be fine the next day. But if I have 3 sugary cocktails, like, anyway, I wake up the next morning and the base of my skull is just like throbbing and hot, and it's
funny that you say that, because that's how I feel when I drink tequila.
Really?
Tequila is the only thing that does that to me. I have a hangover the next morning back here in the back of my skull.
Oof.
Yeah, it's the only thing. Everything else, like, like I'll feel dehydrated in the morning or whatever. Like it could be a series of different things that I feel like I can get over easily.
Yeah.
But the one thing that like will last like almost all day is tequila. The tequila hangover.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of rough considering your heritage.
We don't make tequila in Colombia. What are you talking about?
What's the liquor that comes out of Colombia?
Aguardiente.
What is that?
It means fire water.
I thought that wasn't a Native American thing.
No. Have you had cachaça?
No. Uh-uh.
Okay, I'm surprised. But cachaça is the Brazilian version of aguardiente, which is fire water. Yeah, ours tastes like anise, though.
Oh, okay. Oh, I've had anise.
It's anise tasting, but it's actually sugar. It's made from sugar.
Okay, but it's a clear liquor.
It's clear.
Okay, but fire is in, like, does it burn on the way down? We're talking like Fireball, but clear.
I don't think it burns, but maybe it'll burn you. I don't know.
Do you have a bottle on hand, and can I visit?
Yes, you can visit. No, I don't have one on hand.
Damn it.
But also the best kind to get, to your point, is the sugar-free.
Oh, wait, they have a sugar-free version of a liquor?
Sugar-free.
I've never seen that before.
I will. Can I send you a link through here?
You could also just text it to me.
Oh yes, I'll do that. Well, okay, fine. But then I gotta pull out my phone as opposed to doing it on my. All right, fine. I'll do that right now.
Yeah, just do a thing like that.
Yeah. So aguardiente sin azúcar.
Wait. Oh, so agua is the same in Colombia for water. Diente is fire, though, instead of
ardiente. Fuego? Ardiente meaning burning. So literally, it's burning water, but we just translate it as fire water.
Okay, that is the same word in like Mexican Spanish, right?
For water?
For burning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not burn. Well, yeah. This is a burning. It's a different kind of burning. You know what I mean? It's a.
Are we talking like herpes? Like.
Yes. Yeah, it can be used for that too. Yeah. Yeah, it's more like a bodily burning. Think of it that way.
Oh, okay.
Like it burns, but not like physically like fire burning,
Got it. Just a vast discomfort. Okay.
Exactly. All right, so I'm going to send you this. You might be able to find it out there, although last time I was in LA, I'll be honest, your supermarkets are not well stocked. All I saw was Mexican products. So
there's little pockets of, when it comes to like restaurants specifically, where to find stuff. Like there's actually like I think a block stretch. That's what neighborhood is that? It's south of Hollywood, but it's just Ethiopian restaurants. And it's the only place in LA that I can think of that there's Ethiopian food.
I love Ethiopian food. Oh, it's so good.
I haven't even stopped by.
I went to a really good one in Atlanta with Alex.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Desta, which means joy. I have an Ethiopian friend, so I always ask her whenever I go to a new restaurant what it means. So yeah, that one was excellent. I went to one when I was in Colorado in Denver, and it was okay. It was just okay. But honestly, Desta in Atlanta, amazing,
Huh.
amazing.
That's curious.
That's probably me. Oh my god, it took forever.
Yeah, it just came through.
Wow.
I gotta be better about muting my devices while I'm doing a thing.
Well, you're doing a thing.
Did this thing.
Okay.
Because otherwise it's just like
Yeah.
stuff
Bing.
is blowing up.
Bing.
Like I've got literally I've got a group thread going on from work, and I think the guys are bored because they're just
Well,
they're
it's a
just
Sunday.
talking about like everything that they're doing right now.
It's a Sunday night. I get it.
And that's why I do this. I think Sunday night's gonna be my thing.
This was perfect for me only because tomorrow's Monday, but it's a holiday, so I'm off. So this worked out.
Well, I appreciate you popping in, and despite the fact that you are a self-proclaimed behind-the-scenes person.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, so I mean, we can talk about that quickly if you'd like. The fact that I'm no longer on Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah. So did that happen at the beginning of the pandemic? You were like, I gotta get out of here.
I've
When
been
did this
off it.
start?
I've been off. So this past August makes 3 years that I haven't been on Instagram or Facebook.
Wait, I could have sworn at one point, like during the shooting of Jungle Cruise, that you and I were like connected on like Facebook and Instagram both. Never?
No, I remember everybody would ask me, "Oh, are you on Facebook?" I'm like, "No."
Sorry, you're gonna have to treat me like a real person and take my phone
Exactly.
number, and we're gonna
Right.
call and text.
Exactly. Yep. So I think in part that's probably why Alex and I have, like we don't really text as much because he's all about Instagram, I think, and I'm not on there.
Well, also your iPhone and he's Android.
Yeah, but that's come on. I mean, hello, welcome to WhatsApp. Cross platform.
A little topical, but
Why? What do you mean?
well, the Facebook is supposed to be updating WhatsApp to
I know.
Yeah.
But the best part is they can't use my info because I'm not on Facebook.
I got a freaking Oculus headset, the Oculus 2,
Yeah.
months ago, which I'm really enjoying. Like I'm doing the Vader stuff. I'm doing like dojo and like force pulling stuff and lightsaber and all this great. Yeah, it's fun. But I'm like, I gotta have a Facebook account to do this thing.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it makes sense because they make it, right?
Well, they bought Oculus.
Oh, they bought it. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like cool. You get to have fun in like your VR headset, or like you don't need to have like your lighthouses positioned around the room. It's got all of the sensors built in to the headset itself. It's fun, reasonably priced, but also connect that Facebook account.
Well, I mean,
okay, this is where you're still the product.
6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Let's say you get the Samsung equivalent, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to probably hook up your Android, your Gmail account. So it's the same thing.
But right? I mean,
I think.
Is that? I mean, everything that's basically not Apple is Android based.
Pretty much.
Is Android just like? It's like Android's like the mobile version of like Microsoft for the operating system, Windows for the operating system. Just like take it, put it on your anyways.
Right.
Whole other thing that I don't think either of us are nerdy enough to talk about. But anyway, where the hell did that rabbit trail come from?
Why? What did you want to focus on?
Facebook. The fact that you're not on social media. There we go.
Okay. Yeah.
3 years. Why? Why? Like what was the inciting event?
Meditation.
Really?
I think I had done my 3rd round of Vipassana. Have you heard of Vipassana meditation?
Mm-mm.
It's an intense 10-day silent retreat. It's
Okay.
Buddhist. It's a Buddhist, type of meditation. I've already done 4 sits. We call them sits, right? So I've done 4 sits and 1 serve, because part of the practice is you go for a week, you go for 10 days, and you serve everybody who's there just to meditate.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done 1 of those, and I've done 4 sits, which is when you just go to meditate for 10 solid days and don't talk to anybody. And so I'd come back off my 3rd one, and it was kind of like, I don't need this anymore.
Huh.
I just stopped, I totally stopped using both for at least a year. And then I might have gone on to like I've been on 5 times total on both apps since I went off 3 years ago, that's a lot. You know what I mean? And I can tell you one time, it was just to get dance classes. I had taken a dance class in the city with this guy. He was doing a reggaeton class.
Oh, reggaeton, nice.
Yeah, he was doing a
That's
reggaeton
awesome.
class, and my friend and I had no way of contacting him because she wasn't on social media either, turns out. And I was like, fuck. So I was like, I have to go back on my, like, she was like hardcore, like she's never been on either, you know? So I was
Hmm.
like, I have to reactivate my Instagram so I can get his info because I didn't want to get his number. I thought that was awkward, you know?
Yeah,
So I was like, fine, if he posts it on his, on his Instagram, I'll just add him on Instagram and then I'll just find out where the classes are and all the information, whatever. So I did that.
gotcha.
So that was like one time that I actually used my Instagram. Um, but I just don't, I really, you know what the best part is for me about it?
Hmm.
No more FOMO, right?
Okay.
Anybody who goes off to Tahiti or whatever, and, they're showing off their pictures and their guns and their, bikinis and whatever. I'm like, okay, great. I'm glad you're there. I didn't see any of it. It's wonderful. You know what I mean? Like, I love it. I don't have FOMO.
Yeah,
I also don't have to like answer to anybody when I travel. Like that's really the best part. Like it's like I'm in
true.
Houston
Yeah.
and I don't need to see XYZ person because they want to see me every time I go, but I don't feel like seeing them.
Oh, I thought you were
Like,
gonna say like answering to people back home, being like, oh, keeping an account of what you're doing.
oh, it's more the other way around. It's like when I'm in a new city and people are
Mhm.
like, "Oh, let's hang out," and it's like, I don't know if I necessarily want to hang out with you. You know. So
That's fair.
yeah.
I completely understand and respect that. I think that for me, I've never gotten into a spot where like I've experienced some kind of like FOMO from seeing what somebody else is doing, unless they're at like Disney World, and I'm like, oh man, yeah, honestly, that's it. Like
Oh my god, it's
I
got to be
I, I
different for
almost
you.
look at it like if I almost look at Instagram like kind of like Pinterest in a way. Even if it's a friend of mine who's like off on an adventure, I go like, oh, that looks really cool. Like I'm gonna go put that on my list of things to do or see if and when I ever go through that place. I'm never sitting there like, oh man, I really wish I was there. That's happened very few times.
Yeah, it's happened very few times, but the fact of the matter is, it's still psychological. It still kind of affects us in a way,
Hmm.
and I don't have to deal with it anymore. You know what I mean? That's the
Yeah,
best part. That's really the best part for me.
probably read a lot more books in the last few years than other people.
Honestly, no.
Oh, never
I
mind.
have a short attention span because of Netflix. I'm on Netflix a lot, and
Hmm.
or any other streaming app, right? But
Okay.
it's I read lots of articles because they're short, but it's
Yeah.
really hard to focus enough to read a book. Like I haven't done that in a few years.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
fair. I get
So,
that. I mean, we kind of have been educated that way, just in general. Aside from, I mean, primarily because of social media, but then also other things in pop culture in
I'm trying
general.
to think. Aside from like the full script of Jungle Cruise, what else I read like that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But that was work related, so
Yeah. I was on the opposite side of that, where I read that every draft of that script that came out.
every draft.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell?
Yeah. I've
I
done it
only
for
read
several movies.
I only read a couple, like I read one full there was one full read through for sure,
Hmm.
and then maybe like two or three, like the green and the pink kind of thing,
Yeah.
you know.
I have the problem where I give notes when new pages come out.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm taking a highlighter and a pen, and I'm going, I'll keep it to myself, but I'm still marking up the pages.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I did actually, I don't mind saying this, and I can totally say this now. I did that when I was working for Bruckheimer with Pirates 5.
Okay.
So I would kind of like, I'm not going to say I would sneak a copy of a new draft, but, they came across my desk. And I took notes in that, and I ended up putting together. Actually, the bottom of the you can't really see it too well. Well, there's a box in the way, but behind that cardboard box
Yeah.
is the original version of a timeline that I put together for the Pirates of the Caribbean universe,
Oh,
and
cool.
was based on the broadcast drafts of the first four films at that time,
Hmm.
and then just everything from like what actually happens in the films to like to dialogue, like events that are referenced even just in conversation throughout those films, and then everything that was supposed to be in the fifth film. So and I would just lay all this out there, and then every time a new draft came out, I'd make some notes on that. There was like logic issues, stuff like that. But I basically like, ended up that was kind of the impetus that started. I mean, that amongst like one or two other things that started this whole thing with the corkboard, with putting together like it's like alternate history, you know?
Yeah,
You start like putting pieces together and kind of lining things up and seeing how like cause and effect, how something, you know, one thing leads to the next, or two seemingly unrelated things that happen in the same space and maybe even the same span of time. Just fun stuff like that.
Cool.
But rolling that way back,
Bing!
the guys are still bored.
Okay.
They're still just texting. But anyways. Yeah, so then I know that I definitely need to. Actually, there was gonna be no benefit in trying to tag you in this thing tonight, because
I mean, you could, but there's nothing in the tag.
Not even just WhatsApp, not even Snapchat.
I mean, how can you tag me on WhatsApp? I don't have Snapchat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I used that for a little bit. I used that briefly, but then I was like, okay, they kept changing it, and I was like, what the hell? Yeah. Like every time the user interface changed, it was like you had to learn a whole new app. So it was like, forget this.
Actually, isn't that something that there was something a few years ago about even like text messaging, like I am, like something like that. It was considered another language because of abbreviations and shorthand and things like that. I feel like. Oh, go ahead. You're smarter than me.
I was going to say, well, it's a conceptual representation of English. You know what I mean? Like it's not another language. It's another way to write English. Think of it that way. You know, and a lot of it is more conceptual, right? Like how are you, using an R and a U.
True.
Right? That's conceptual, right? As opposed to, and by the way, that's actually really interesting because if you think about it, they say some of the first languages were conceptual, right? So, you know, Egyptian, right? Like ancient Egyptian, or Chinese, you know, like old Chinese, let's say, right? They were conceptual, right? Like a sun was like, you know, a circle with a dot and stuff like that. Not just spelled out, right? Not like SUN, right? Or the equivalent.
Right.
So we're kind of going back to that. That's kind of what they're saying with text speak. Yeah.
My biggest problem was when somebody says, that's ridic. And I go, Euless. You forgot the second half of that word.
I don't mind that. I say that. Yeah. You're a ridic, Trev.
See, but I actually like you, so I'm okay with it.
Give me the deets late. Sorry, that's one that my friend hates.
No.
It's from Saturday Night Live. It's from a long time ago. She used to say, you know, she was like, call me and give me the deets late. She used to say it all the time because she hated it so much. And now it just stuck, you know, like we use it all the time.
All right. I'm going to put that through a filter.
No, no, say it. I have no problem with you bashing it because it's not mine.
Oh, so it's actually to be used in jest. Good. Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it's from SNL. Come on.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. All right. Well, I can't believe it, but we're already hitting an hour and a half.
I know. It's like a class. It's like me teaching an online class. That's what I feel. Although this time I was, you know, it was the other way around because you were asking most of the questions, which was kind of nice. So.
Well, it worked. I don't know. Like I say, I'm still trying to figure out a format of this entire thing. I've got like last week was my friend Sam, who he lives just outside DC in Virginia. And I thought we were going to end up talking about politics the bulk of the time. And we barely talked about it. And when we did, it was because I brought it up.
Yeah.
But we mostly just talked about like the time when, we met in college. He's from Ohio, and we met when we were going to college in Chicago. And, you know, when him and his wife moved to DC or Virginia, and the work he's been doing since then. And yeah, and it just started talking about stuff like that. Like he does some DJing, makes some of his own music.
That's awesome.
He's actually going to end up making my my music for this. So sorry, your beatboxing. I'll find a place for your beatboxing,
but not for my porn music.
I think I might have another show that might work for.
Somehow I believe that.
I'm working on a couple of things because I figure like this year, while we've got our vaccine and things are going to be slowly getting better,
Yeah.
hopefully like nationwide and globally. I still think that there's going to be a lot of carryover from last year to this year.
Yeah, of course.
So with that in mind, I'm just kind of thinking like, all right, what am I going to do to just how to make this year different than last year? And like I did a lot of stuff last year. Like I've got we recorded it last year, but our editor is actually finishing it right now. I got like a pilot of an audio based program
Cool.
that I'm gonna have like tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So like I produced that and I got that going. A few other projects that I'm just trying to move forward. So like even like ASL like was always on a kind of he's kind of on the back burner. It's on the idea list, but just thinking of like how do I make this year different? What do I learn that I haven't learned before? What do I try? Just all that fun stuff.
Cool.
And this is part of it.
Awesome.
And also make sure that I actually keep in touch with people that I care about, like you.
Aw. Awesome. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Awesome. Well, yeah. So yeah, we just hit an hour and a half. I think we should probably start wrapping up.
I can say bye because it's also 10:30 your time.
Yeah, it's late for me. I just want to like veg out and watch TV,
You can definitely do that. Finish the soju. I'm going to make another drink here, but I'm not an alcoholic.
Whatever floats your boat. Whether it's tequila or rum or, whatever else, matey.
We can talk about that more when we're not in such a public setting.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, as I still get more familiar with this platform, you can hang tight exactly where you are, and we can still talk. But I'm at least going to end the stream here.
Sounds good.
For the
masses.
Masses.
Okay.
I've got one friend actually watching right now.
Oh, really? Hey, that's better than none.
Can you see the counter on your side?
No, I can't.
Oh, okay, I got it over here. I don't know. This is a thing. Like for all. Okay, so real quick before we end all that, I'll just say this in general, just so it's on the record. The guys that I've talked with, from my boss to the comics that would open for him while we're on tour for all of 2020, they're like, listen, like if you're gonna do something like a podcast or like a live stream, or whatever, just like make the content for you and let it change and evolve over time. And if it gets better and it finds an audience, then that audience they'll go back and they'll watch the early stuff too. But like just do your thing and just like keep doing it and it'll find an audience, hopefully eventually. So for me, like this is just kind of like it's just scattershot right now. It'll get better over time, but for now it's this, and I might not have an audience now, but maybe down the line people go back and look and see what has been done.
It's kind of like that book, Do What You Love and the Money Will Follow.
Oh, that hasn't happened yet. I've been doing a lot of things I love and I'm still broke.
You know what I like. I think that's what they meant, right? It was kind of like just do it for you, and eventually you'll have a viewership.
We'll see. I don't know. Maybe no. I'm just opening myself up to possibilities. So who knows if this will ever be a thing? But at least I'm trying it, and I'm getting educated on it. So it's just the experience of it for me for now.
Okay, cool.
So, but again, thank you for being willing to do this.
Of course, yeah, no problem.
With like 24-hour notice.
Yeah, that's fine.
I totally plan these things out well enough ahead of time. Definitely, always do.
Yeah, you definitely planned your questions out. That's for sure.
I actually didn't. That was just all off the cuff.
No, I know you didn't. I was making fun of you. I was poking fun.
Thanks. I appreciate that. All right, now I'm going to end it for sure, and then we'll be here for a second. All right.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.